Party people in the place to be. You are now in the midst of a real MC. Throw your hands in the air if you're real as me. Ooh!
Going on, everybody? Welcome back. You're tuned in to another episode of Lloyd Alford Radio. This is your host, Lloyd Alford, and I'm here kicking it off with another great friend of mine, brother of mine actually, Jordan Greene, the Raleigh man, the Greensboro legend. A real go-getter, a real hustler. A lot of respect for this guy. I've been able to see him accomplish a lot of things. Thanks for coming in and chopping it up with me, bro.
For sure, bro. It's a pleasure to be here, man. I look forward to the conversation. For me, at first, even just doing this interview and you extending the invite, man, it means a lot. And I look forward to not just this interview that we about to do, but the ones you got moving forward. So
yeah, bro.
Let's get it started, man.
I appreciate it, man. Everything I try to ever do, you always supported me. I appreciate that. We'll get right into it. Now, a lot of people don't know that who you are and kind of the things that you've accomplished. I know the man is much bigger than the accomplishments, but just to speak on some that stand out to me, for one, the only person that I can recall, I'm pretty sure the only person that has held a presidency position all 4 years at HBCU, North Carolina A&T, the greatest HBCU to be exact. Meaning that freshman year, you held the title of freshman class president. Sophomore year, title of sophomore class president. Going into junior year, the title of junior class president. And senior year, not senior class president, but student body president, all or nothing. So, if you don't mind, could you speak on those experiences of being in SGA at a HBCU? How was that for you?
Man, first, I'm just gonna say it was a blessing. It was truly something that I couldn't even imagine, honestly, going into the T. Being the first one in my family to go to college, I was like, hey, I got one goal. And the only goal was to go to school,
right? Get up out of there and make it out,
and then make it out, and hopefully get a career, right? Start a career. So those opportunities that you mentioned, they weren't written, but they came across, and I fully tackled them. But I go back to like freshman year when it all started, and for me, this was something, again, I wasn't really going to the T4. I knew I wasn't going to say like, oh, I want to run for class president. I want to run for SGA president. But the opportunity presented itself. And when the opportunity presented itself, I'll never forget. It was you, Pat, Cam, Zay, all the boys.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, let's take a shot at it. And for me, I was like, let me look into it. Let me think about it. And after some full thought, I was like, we're gonna give it a shot. We're gonna give it a shot, and we're gonna make it happen. So, like you mentioned before, from that very first opportunity with freshman class president, I kept going. And for me, I just saw, I saw what could be accomplished with the role such as that. Right, the impact that you had on campus, the glimpse of leadership in it. For me, it has carried, honestly, outside of just college and to where I am today. But it just gave me a lot of inspiration, got a lot of motivation, a lot of connections,
right,
and a lot of things that I'm truly proud of what I've accomplished with that role. So glory to God for being a part of that journey. And I'm gonna just throw this on the record too. I don't know if I was the first one, but the first one recently. So
right, that's why I was just like, you're the only one that I know personally.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So no disrespect to anybody that's accomplished that before you, and I'm sure it'll be people that accomplish that after you.
No doubt, as they should.
Right.
They should.
We're from Raleigh, bro. Well, technically, you're from Zebulon.
For sure.
Right,
Small
right
town country boy.
Right outside of Raleigh. People may not know that, but we went to the same high school. We were kind of around a certain group of friends being here in our hometown and going out and meeting new people and networking, going to HBCU. My question is, as you're in that space of networking and meeting new people, how do you still bridge the gap or keep the connections and not get too distant from the people that you've already, met and just been friends with? And it might sound like a trivial question or easy question, but I only ask because in times where people leave their hometown to start doing a lot, to other people they could start to be Hollywood or switch up or seem fake. And I take pride in always saying that we never saw that from you. So how do you keep yourself, grounded in making sure that you meet new people but not forget about the people that you already met?
Listen, you'll never forget where you come from.
Right, no doubt.
You'll never forget where you come from. Those that, was there with you through the thick and thin, through the ups and downs. That was your true day ones, right?
Right.
And for me, I always carried that. I always, for me, if I was going to an opportunity, I wanted to make sure that, one of my boys had a chance to speak up and present himself.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I would just talk about the transition itself. And being from a small town country area, one of the biggest things for me was public speaking. To this day, I still get a little nervous, right? That's just 100.
It's natural, bro. It's natural,
you know what I'm saying? I'm nervous right now, but we talking. So I'm talking with my boy, so it's a different type of setting. So long story short, to answer your question, I think that, I won't even say I think. I got a habit of saying I think. You always need to say I know, But for me, it was just being relatable, being you in whatever door, whatever room that you're in. And also, as far as conversations, whatever I learned in those particular rooms where I didn't necessarily thought I was supposed to be in,
right,
I took that and I applied that and I pushed that to my community. I pushed that to my mentees, my youth, people from back home, because one of the biggest things about HBCUs and just going to A&T was the exposure I had.
Definitely,
and that exposure that you have, everyone is not blessed with that opportunity, or that's not the lane for them. So I say that to say is, if you're in that space, if you're in that opportunity, and you're in that room, share that knowledge, share that wealth. So I think that there's a twofold to your question. One is the fold of never forgetting where you come from,
right,
and carrying that character with you throughout whatever, like I said, room that you're in. But then two, if you're getting that exposure, if you're getting that education, make sure that you're sharing that and you're giving that back to your community,
right?
Because that's most important.
Definitely, bro. Definitely. So, you mentioned being the first one in your family to graduate, and coming from Raleigh, and how do I say this? Basically, just having a lot of people looking up to you and being so proud of you from where you're at. Did you ever feel unnecessary pressure? The fact that, being in college, we all are under some type of pressure at some point. But do you ever feel like yours was, you might have had more pressure than other people might have had, just because of, they say heavy is the head that lies the crown. They say to whom much is given, much is required, which is true. But how did you feel about that? And more importantly, with that pressure, how do you think you handled it?
Nah, there was definitely some pressure. If I had to be completely honest, there was times where my downfalls or the obstacles that I was facing kind of put me down.
Yeah.
And being in a spotlight where you're always on, you're always, putting on for your community, putting on home. There's also an expectation.
Yeah, I was going to say,
it's an expectation.
People almost expect you to be perfect.
They expect for you to be perfect. And
I feel that.
At the end of the day, I'm human. I'm like you are. You know what I'm saying? And I think that when you even looking at the bigger capacity, right? These celebrities, we always forget, they're human too. Like, you know what I'm saying? They put their pants on just the way you put your pants on.
Exactly.
So, and I use that analogy because that's what I had to look myself in the mirror. I was like, yo, I'm my own competition.
Mm-hmm.
There's no pressure. Like, the obstacles that I face is never going to define who I am today.
Right.
So, with that notion, it's like, I can do whatever I want. I can accomplish whatever I want. And if anything comes that way, I know how to react.
Yeah.
I know that, hey, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, definitely.
And, you know, and for me, it's like, I share with these, now with doing recruiting and the candidates that come across, I say, you know, if you don't get that job opportunity, that L is not a loss. It's a it's a lesson, right?
Well, never a loss.
And you learn from it. So, you know, that pressure that you mentioned, like, yeah, it was there. Yeah, I had to figure out how to, you know, let that not define me. And the answer to that was realizing who I was and realizing that my story is my story and that I'm the author of it. And any journey that you have, there's going to be downs, there's going to be ups.
Right.
It's all about how you move forward. So,
right.
Yeah.
Definitely. And so we go from being in high school, A&T, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, graduation. Now, you did something interesting, though. If I can recall correctly, you spent a lot of your time traveling right before you graduated. Yeah. So what made you do that, and how important do you think it is coming from a small town? Why did you feel the need to want to really travel? I see now like you're a bit advocate of just getting out and seeing the world. Speak on that. Why is that important to you?
Man, that's...
You be everywhere. You be everywhere. Passport going. You be everywhere, bro.
Get your stamps up.
Yeah.
But nah, man, that actually, the year that I did that, a lot of people don't know, but I took 5 years at T. You know, I was so involved my very first 4 years, as we stated earlier, that I really didn't have time to take advantage of the opportunity that was presented. So for me, my 5th year, that fall, I was like, yo, I'm gonna go abroad. I've talked to a couple people that went abroad and did some traveling. Shout out to my big bro Mount. He really, you know, enlightened me on a couple things about traveling. Like, hey man, you should do it. Yeah. And for me, I took that shot, man. I was like, I got to take some extra courses to graduate. So, you know, I'm gonna make the best of this extra year.
Might as well.
And, you know, and I went abroad. And when I tell you, like, it's literally one of the top 5 best decisions I ever made in my life, because I learned so much, not just about the culture, but about me.
Yeah, definitely.
And when you go abroad, it's like the way you think certain things are set up in the U.S., you would think it's set up like that in Japan or Australia, or
it's all you know.
It's all you know. It's all you've seen, but it's a totally different dynamic. It really shows you, one, there's not only one certain way of doing things, and then 2, I think one of the biggest things coming from like where I come from, it's like they tell you, like, don't do that, like that's whack or that's corny, like, or like it's a certain stigma on certain things, right? And when I went abroad, like I took that mindset away and I was just doing things. I was, you know, paragliding, I was snorkeling, like
just different
doing
experiences.
different experiences. And the people that I met was great people, man, and you'll be surprised on what you learn going abroad. And you know, for me, I'm big on food too, so like
definitely I was gonna get into that next.
I'm big on food, and like I always took notes of like certain different things that was done in restaurants across the world, so that way when I come back, I can apply my own spin to it. Right. And for those people that's listening, maybe your thing isn't food. Maybe your lane is fashion. Right. Maybe your lane is, you know, doing a nonprofit. Right. No, like if you go abroad and you learn some of the mechanisms and the things that they're doing
just
abroad,
come back and apply,
and you can apply that and tweak it, and you create your own. You know, you create your own lane, you create your own spin to things, and that's just one real life example I'll give. For people that's out here, entrepreneurs, man, that's one of the best things to do is travel. Right. Because you'll gain so much knowledge.
And inspiration.
Inspiration to be able to apply it.
Inspiration.
For sure. So, yeah, man, I've been to about, I think like 8 to 9 countries so far.
Where? Name them. Try to name them.
Man, I've been to Japan. I stayed in Australia for a couple months. I went to India, the Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
The Taj Mahal has so much history. If you ever get a chance to go to India, go to the Taj Mahal, get you a tour guide, and learn the history.
You gotta prepare for that.
You don't.
Well,
You don't.
if you ever get a chance to just ride by India.
No, but no, seriously. But
Yeah,
India. Where else? I've been to Europe. I've been to Barcelona.
Nice.
I've been to Amsterdam. I've been to Paris. I've been
Nice.
to I've been to Thailand. I've been to Singapore, New Zealand.
I didn't know you went to New Zealand.
Oh man, New Zealand it's a vibe, and for me, like I can never tell you like what was my favorite. So I don't even know if you got that question next. But I can't tell you what's my favorite because there's certain favorites for certain styles. So like for peace and calm and nature, I'll say New Zealand.
Right.
For like
Turning up,
man. Australia was a vibe.
Okay.
I mean, Thailand is.
that's crazy.
Thailand
was
partying
in another countries.
Partying in different countries, man, and they not playing our music, or
Right.
they not. So like that was another thing I had to expand my mind on. Like I'm gonna have fun.
You just gotta go with it.
I don't know what's getting played in the background, but I'm having fun. And man, like I said, it's definitely one of the best things that I've ever done in life, and I highly recommend it to anyone to get a chance to do that. So if you're listening and you're thinking about it, go for it. And if you need help, reach out to me, and I can definitely guide you on what to do and how to go about it. So
yeah, definitely. And so, just moving on further with the timeline.
Okay.
Class presidency, 5th year, traveling, graduating. Then we get into the career. We get into the real world. We get into the corporate world. How was that transition? If you don't mind me telling the people. Well, you could speak on kind of your professional job now. So, graduating, how was that transition getting into the corporate world? Because, I mean, a moment of transparency, the illusion is you go to school for 4 years, you're going to automatically get a internship, you're going to automatically have job offers, and when you get out, you're going to be on the path to making 6 figures. But so many of my friends did it the right way and went to school and graduated, got their degree, and are still having trouble getting into their career field, breaking into the corporate door, and they did all the required steps. So, not to discourage anybody, because college is still definitely lit, but how was that experience for you, really getting your foot in the door?
So, first things first, your lane is different than the next man or the next woman beside you.
In comparison, is a thief of joy.
In comparison, is a thief of joy. Never compare yourself. So the right way. There's no right way.
Right.
It's all about how you maximize the way that you're given. Right.
Right. Definitely.
So for me, that transition, it wasn't as easy as it looked. Like nothing is as easy as it looked. Like so, So, what a lot of people don't know, it's so crazy because going from Southeast to college, I was only accepted to one college.
Gotcha.
And the same thing happened for my transition. From
I didn't know that. To the corporate world.
Corporate, to Microsoft. I lie to you not. I always thought I was going to go to the KPMG public accounting route. And that's why
I remember you were talking about being that's what you were saying all throughout college, is that you were trying to be an accountant.
Yeah, and that was what I had set. But something else that when you mentioned the class president, when you mentioned traveling, I tried to apply like anything that I do with the same mindset or the same learning. So
right.
I realized that I didn't love accounting. I would have been burnt out. So I had to realize that I was going to follow my passion. And when I think about what I love to do, it really aligned with what I'm doing now in recruiting in Microsoft. And
gotcha.
What I'm currently doing now at the company is I close candidates. So externally it's called University Recruiter. A lot of people like, oh, you find talent, right? Or like, oh, you can recruit me.
Right.
But that's not what I exactly do. I'm actually on the end spectrum of it. So I close candidates. So from the time that you're found, from that campus finder, you meet a closer such as myself, and I'm the one that talks to you about your offer, your benefits.
Okay.
I'm that negotiator between you and the business. And trying to present the best offer for you. And I like to call it passion persuade. So I'm persuading you to come to a company that believes that you have a life outside of work.
Right, no doubt.
So the work-life balance, in short. But one of the aspects that I love about it so much is the opportunity to educate my people. I was sharing this earlier, right, that the offers that I present consist of a base salary. It's a stock, a signing bonus. And a lot of you don't get taught those certain things. You're not taught like how to set up a 401k. You're not taught how to take advantage of your stock.
We should be taught these things,
and
man.
we should. And we get. I got some projects that I'm working on to help with that. But so for me, it's that piece of that education piece that I love doing, is just educating the university students, and especially my community, on those different aspects of how to take advantage and how to leverage that, because those type of amounts, you're able to set yourself up for financial wealth, and then also for generational wealth as well.
Definitely.
So,
definitely. All right, that's what's up, bro. I see what you're saying, and it's just ironic that, like you said, you had one offer going from high school to college, and then one job offer leaving college.
Yeah.
But your plan is your path. So now we're getting into where we are now in life, where you are now in life. Been at Microsoft for a little while, but the route of entrepreneurship, ownership, being a business owner is starting to become more appealing to you and to a lot of people. It's interesting that no matter if I have friends that went to school and got their degree, whether they didn't go to school, whether they were in school and left school, whatever it may be, it's interesting that more and more of my friends are finding ways to brand themselves and to brand the things that they're interested in. And I believe that everybody young should be building something, working for something that pays the bills, and also be building something on the side that you can own. So when did that kind of hit you, or when did that passion kind of grow for you to own something and to get into your own projects in entrepreneurship that, you know, we'll kind of get into?
So for me, it was church.
Okay. Talk to me.
My grandmother's pastor used to always tell my grandma, I was like, he's gonna be a businessman. He's gonna own something one day.
Yeah.
And
older people be prophesizing, man.
They do.
Power in the tongue,
and it's crazy. And I started hearing that from mentors, sponsors, just people that I met. And I say that to say that it started registering me, like, man, maybe I can. Maybe I can go out on this route. And for me, it's always been like, be comfortable with the uncomfortable. So I shared with you as far as university, A&T, I didn't want to go. I didn't know what the plan that I was going to have, but, you know, I was blessed with so many opportunities. And then from the career, I took that opportunity and I didn't have that set. So the same thing with entrepreneur and being, wanting to create something of my own. And also, for me, my last name, like my family that I represent, you know, like you said before, like, a lot of people don't go to college. So I wanted to build something that, hey, if I have a kid, if I have a son or daughter and, you know, they don't want to go to college and they want to do something else, I want to be able to have...
They don't have to start from scratch.
They don't have to start from scratch.
Right.
They can start where Pops, you know, built, and it's going to be for them. And so they can pass on to their children, right?
Right.
So, you know, I started thinking about it. But as you know, because you've been an entrepreneur since high school to jump.
Yeah, bro.
So it requires a lot of time.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think right now where I'm at as far as my transition, I mentioned that I'm a recruiter right now for Microsoft. It's also understanding, like, how can I build time to do other things that I love. And Microsoft is a great company that allows me to do that, gives me the flexibility. But I need that time, right? So fast forward, you know, right now, a couple entrepreneurship, couple ideas that I have right now that I'm working on is, one, as a business school for high schoolers and middle schoolers.
Nice. Needed. I would have definitely went to that school.
I haven't figured out the name for it, but the purpose is to give real life application and real life skills to people that's in high school and middle schools, especially those public schools.
The
where
future business leaders.
Yes, you're not given those. You're not being taught that. You're not being taught how to save. You're not being taught how to, again, leverage your 401k. You're not taught on how to become an entrepreneur. You're not taught on how to follow your passion and follow things that you love versus seeing things on TV or listening to things on, like, in the car where you're like, oh, I want to be that. I want to be this. Like, no, find your lane. Like, you're not taught those real life skills. So what I learned as far as school and, going to college and being part of conferences, that you can have a resource such as that people are able to be a part of. So, long story short, I'm trying to bring a business school to high schools and middle schools and have a platform and leverage my network and teach these real life skills, because it's needed.
Definitely.
It's definitely needed in our community. And I remember that, if I was in school and things that I know now, oh man,
a whole different ball game.
It would have been a whole different ball game to where I am today. But everything happens for a reason. So I definitely want to do something in that nature and give back. And then the other pillar of it is food. I'm a big foodie. Quality Eats is the brand.
Yeah, food is so cultural.
It's so,
and it's so unifying. You know what I'm saying? People get together over good food. It's about the fellowship.
It's the experience, bro.
Right,
like
exactly.
I tell people all the time, like, they're like, so what makes you enjoy being a foodie? And I love trying new foods, but it's also the fellowship that happens from it and the experience you get with just eating good food, vibing with whomever you're vibing with, and again, it's that experience. It's that ultimate timeline of as soon as you walk through the door from the time that you leave, that you're gonna be uplifted, you're gonna have a good time, and you're gonna go about your day. So 5-year goal within the next 5 years, definitely have my own cafe or restaurant lounge.
I was gonna ask you. That was my last question. I was gonna ask you what your 5-year. What's some things you want to accomplish on that side? Yeah. So you were saying. Yeah.
So for me, within the next 5 years, a cafe or a restaurant lounge. I love to start it back home, from anywhere from the Zebulon to the Raleigh area. Right. And then within my corporate space, I definitely want to start getting involved into justice reform initiatives within tech.
Yeah.
Microsoft is working on a couple of different initiatives where how to get people that's been had records jobs in the corporate space. So I would definitely love that, especially I've had family members in that situation, so be able to learn that. And then and that what I was talking about the business schools, be able to scale that. So of course my pilot schools are going to be Southeast Raleigh and Zebulon Middle, but I'll eventually love to go to different schools and travel the world and really provide this business school on a national level. So within those three, that's what I have planned within the next 5 to 10 years, and God willing, hopefully I'll be able to accomplish that. So
definitely, bro. All sounds very possible. You know what I'm saying? I want to be nice and be like, I'm gonna be surprised to see you do it, but I know you're gonna do it, bro. I'm right here. I got your back. But
I appreciate that, bro.
I appreciate you chopping it up with me on the radio station, bro. This is a great conversation of many. This one was just recorded. You know how we do. But
live and direct, baby.
Live and direct. We'll catch you guys same time next week.